three core tactical. Vietnam is divided into four core tactical zones. I Corps, closest to North Vietnam, up in the narrow neck of it. 2 Corps was the mountainous central part of it, the Central Highlands. And that's where I went for my second tour, and that's where this gang that the lash up that we're assembled with here, that's where we served in most of us in the 1970s, but some of the guys go back, I think, to 62 or 63. 3 Corps is the large fat part, and then the largest part, I guess, is 4 Corps, which is down the Delta, water, muck. I was not assigned there, thank goodness. 3 Corps was relatively flat, included the capital, Saigon, and the Saigon River ran through it. My guns were probably in 4 or 5 Special Forces camps at any one time and 1 or 2 district headquarters. They were typically commanded by a warrant officer or a second lieutenant, and he'd have the 2 guns and 20 to 25 men, and they would be based in a camp, satellited, and it was an interesting business. My first visit to the first 4 camps, each of the platoon leaders said, I'd made captain before I got there, so I was a captain when I arrived, which was a good thing. I was a brand new captain, but nobody in Vietnam ever saw me as a first lieutenant, so they thought of me as a... And the other funny thing is Long, L-O-N-G, in Vietnamese means dragon, if it's pronounced a certain way. So they thought that was remarkable that I changed my name to Captain Dragon in order to work with them. And when I tried to explain to them what Long meant, they went, oh, Long. I said, no. But of course, every time I got in the shower for the first 2 weeks, there'd be Vietnamese soldiers peeking in the shower to see if it was "da we Jai." Jai is the Vietnamese word for long. The myth was dispelled pretty quickly. Anyhow, these guys came to me and said, we need number 4 or 5 motor oil. It was the thinnest motor oil, the lowest viscosity. And I said, okay, I'd write this stuff down religiously, and I've gotten all the list of it, and I got back and I realized that all of them had asked me for this thin motor oil. And so I got in a Jeep and drove to Saigon to the large resupply area there. And the neat thing about Vietnam in 1966 was if you had a clipboard and you were officious, you could get anything. You walked in and said, and some sergeant went up, can I help you, Captain? I need 27 cases of plywood. Yes, sir. And you would go and trade that for a generator so that you could have electricity for your dependents, for the Vietnamese who didn't have any electricity. But in this case, I just showed up and I said, I need motor oil. What in the world are these Vietnamese doing with all this motor oil? And I thought, I don't know. Their trucks are up on cinder blocks in these Special Forces camps. They haven't been driven in years. I said, well, that's what they asked for. He said, sir, they've gone through all of it. We don't have any. I said, okay. So I fly back to my next trip, straight to a camp the next day, and I walked in. I said, why do you need this motor oil? Your trucks, 2.5-ton trucks, are sitting there on cinder blocks. And they said, to clean the bores of our howitzers. I said, why didn't you ask me for a bore cleaner? Oh, American Advisor told us 2 years ago, no bore cleaner, use motor oil. I drove back to that supply place. It was called Nha Bay, supply dump. Walked in, I said, how about bore cleaner? I said, oh my God, Captain, look at that corner. In the corner of the camp were 8,000 cases stacked up 20 feet high, rotting from rain and all that, cans spilling out all over. He said, you can have all you want. So I was the hero of the 51st Artillery Battalion because I delivered them the first bore cleaner in 2 years. And after I got all our guys completely stocked up, I let everybody else know about the miracle because all the other advisors were doing the same thing. The Vietnamese were asking for motor oil when they wanted bore cleaner. That's how we helped. I mean, it was a matter of just getting through to what the real requirement was.